Okay. Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Tanya Beckman for inviting me to do this lecture for your introduction course. The title of this class is Forensic Anthropology and Human Rights Cases. I will make 4 short videos to tell you a little bit about my experience in the area of human rights. I will start by introducing myself. My name is Claudia Garrido. I am a forensic odontologist, but also a forensic anthropologist. I worked in the forensic service of Chile. I am from Chile for around 10 years in the unit of detained and missing persons. And this experience took me overseas. I had to work in different cases, environments, and I decided to study more of this subject. So in 2005, I did a master's in human identification, and then in the year 2009, I decided to do a PhD in forensic anthropology. So this is a little bit my background. I forgot to mention that my undergrad, I am a dentist, and this is how I entered this world of forensics. I would like to talk in this first small video about the contribution of the forensic anthropologists to human rights cases. So, from my experience, I have always worked in multidisciplinary teams. Now, the nature of human rights cases usually will always, most of the times, need the expertise of a forensic anthropologist. What happens usually with human rights cases is that the deaths are not investigated till months or years, sometimes decades after the death happened. And by this time, is the osteology analysis really what will give us more answers about what happened to this person, how this person died, etc. As I was mentioning, this is a multidisciplinary team. It's vital for success to have different specialties in teams that are analyzing human rights cases, because these cases are very complex and many decisions can be taken after an analysis is made. Decisions that can include, for example, a person going to jail or things like this, very serious stuff, right? The things that the forensic anthropologists will bring to the table in this team, of course, is the analysis of skeletonized remains. This is basic, and it will contribute to analyze, as you, I think you already know, it will help to build up the biological profile of the person or the persons that are under study, but it will also help to see the kind of trauma, lesions that the person had during life and also around the moment of death. This will help us to determine, for example, how this person died or what happened in the moment surrounding his death. These decisions, of course, are not made alone by the forensic anthropologist. These decisions are concluded with the pathologist, sometimes with the odontologist as well. So this is why this work is really a teamwork. We all bring to the table what we can see that the remains are presenting, and then we come to a joint conclusion. It's also important to not, I mean, it's more complex than this. So, for example, one thing is to be able to talk about these remains, if these remains belong to the person who are they supposed to belong, which is the profile of this person, how old the person was, how tall, which sex the person was, etc. Then we want to look at the cause of death, as I was saying, look at the trauma that presents, if it's a unique trauma, multiple trauma, is it what kind of trauma are the bullet wounds, etc. But also we want to analyze which are the circumstances of where the person was buried as well. For example, we can see if the person died and was buried in this grave and only there until the person is exhumed, recovered, and analyzed. Or we can see, for example, if this person died but then was exhumed and reburied in somewhere in another grave, or we can see if the remains are mixed or not mixed. So this analysis will help to build up the story of what happened in the past. So first thing that we need to remember is that the forensic anthropologist has the knowledge and the experience to analyze skeletonized remains better than anybody else, really, because we are trained for this, and this is our area of expertise, right? Also, we need to work in conjunction with another professionals, because we need all information that is available to come to a good conclusion or result. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about my personal experience, because I think it will help you understand better our role and how we can contribute to the solution of human rights cases. So first of all, I started working, as I mentioned, in Chile. Chile is the most southern country of the world. It has a population of 15 million persons now. And in the year 1973, we had a government that it was a military coup. After this coup happened, many people were executed and many others went missing. The history is of Chile in respect of human rights. It's very similar to other places in South America. Numbers are not so huge if we compare with Argentina, for example, but we're talking around 1,300 missing persons. These missing persons are really two categories. So we define them, we have two kinds of missing persons. One are the persons that went missing and still looking for, and we don't know the whereabouts. And the other kind of persons that we're looking for are executed victims, but whose remains were never handed back to the families. So we know we have the documentation that the person was executed, but we do not know where the body was buried. The work in the Forensic Service of Chile, it's looking at searching and finding these missing persons, but it's also doing other kinds of analysis. For example, doing verification of identity. So what happened when some of the persons that died or were executed during the military government. Some of these persons were buried, but they were buried in a sealed coffin and with instructions of not looking inside the coffin. So the families, we have to think that at the moment it was an era of terror and people were afraid. And if they were told, okay, you will bury this person like now here with no ceremony or anything, not opening the coffin, families, of course, didn't have any other option. But after democracy came in the 90s, well, then these families started approaching the government and saying, we want to make sure that the person that we buried is really the person that we think, and also we would like to know what happened, how did he die, etc. So apart from searching and looking for missing persons, we are also verifying the identity of executed victims and also confirming how the person died. So it's a work that keeps on going even after the person is identified. It's not something that it's not a process that it can be clearly cut at any period of time. Another things that we have done and we're doing, I say we, but I don't work there anymore, but still I feel very close to the team. It's paternity examination. So, for example, if the father of a person went missing and died, but didn't have the time, for example, to recognize the child, or maybe the mother was pregnant when the father went missing, this child will want to know if this person is really his father. So in these cases, we also analyze genetically the remains of executed victims or even of persons that missing persons that have been identified, to be able to assign the paternity to these families. The work in Chile, in the Forensic Service of Chile, it's a forensic work that is looking at not only finding the person and identifying the person, but it's also looking to bring justice. So in this case, our reports will be used by the prosecutor, for example, to decide, okay, this person was killed unlawfully, this happened, and then people will be sentenced. So it's something that it doesn't stop with the identification process. And this is one of the main difference that I have found now that I work for another organization. So I am now working since 3 years in the International Committee of the Red Cross, and our action is basically humanitarian, and we are not looking at prosecution of persons. So we are just looking for the identification of the victims. And I will continue in the next video.